This past October, I was so pained, September and October, so pained to read the stories of Asher Brown and others who took their lives. And on October the 12th, I made a very personal statement at our Fort Worth City Council meeting. I talked of the pain of reading about their stories, talked about my own pain as a 13-year-old growing up in Crowley, Texas, and being bullied as a young adult and teenager. One of the things that I have said repeatedly on all the talk shows that I had the opportunity to go on, as I've had various interviews and things like that, it is not the responsibility of the children to end bullying. That is our responsibility, the responsibility of the adults. And Representative Coleman's bill gives power to the adults to do just that.
It's called Footprints in the Sand. One night, a man had a dream. He dreamt he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times of his life. This really bothered him and questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why you would leave me when I needed you most. The Lord replied, my precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. Asher loved this story, so we printed it on his memorial bookmarks that we passed at his funeral. He died on September 23rd, 2010, because he couldn't take it anymore. People harassed, persecuted, bullied him, and no one gave a damn. I'm sorry I had to use that language, but that's what it is. But Asher, John, Montana, we're here. We're going to carry you. We're going to make sure that this never happens to anyone else.
My son was a warm and wonderful child. He was smart and funny. He loved all of his pets and animals in general. He was well read, and by the people that knew him most and accepted him for who he was, he would be your best friend. He was an amazing person that I did not get to spend enough time with. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait a long time before I see him again. There are days when it's really hard to have to accept that. It's not fair, and children shouldn't have to be tolerating this on any level. My son didn't deserve it. None of the other children that go through this deserve it. It's not a rite of passage. It's not boys being boys. This has gone way beyond that, and people need to realize it. It's time to wake up as citizens of this state, as citizens of this country, as fellow human beings. It's time. It's time to do something and do the right thing for these children. No parent should have to do this. I went to work and my son was fine. I came home and he was dead. No one should ever have to come home to police tape around their house. And my son shouldn't have had to feel that that was the only thing he had left to do. So I encourage you all to please continue to pray for us, because we feel it, and we thank you for all of your support. Continue to talk to everyone that you can, everyone that will hold still and listen to you. that this is important and we all need to support it. This is a human issue. It crosses all boundaries. And we need to do this for these children so they didn't die in vain. Thank you.
On the billboard next to me are displayed just a few of the children we know who suffered at the hands of bullies. Montana Lance, Hunter Leyland, Tisha Samara, Corinne Wilson. All of these children had significant problems with bullies. They could not escape the grip of despair and eventually committed suicide.